If you're a wedding or event designer and AI still feels overwhelming to you, and maybe you've tried it and it just did not work out, don't worry, you are in the right place. I have created over 94,000 images in MidJourney alone, including some very popular designs that are circulating on Pinterest, and I have figured out what works and what doesn't. And I'm here to show you so you don't have to waste your time learning all of what not to do like I did. I'm Alessandra, and I help event pros master AI so that they can create amazing designs for their clients, whether it's weddings, events, galas, whatever, without wasting time and getting everybody pumped about their designs. So, what if I could tell you that you have the power to tell AI what you do not want included in your design? That's right. Normally, we tell it what we want, but you can also tell it what you don't want. Today, I'm going to show you how. And if you're new here, this is part of a multi-episode mini crash course in MidJourney for events and weddings, where every episode we learn a little bit of a new AI skill and tackle a different part of the event design process. Today, we're focusing on the bars because that's a big part of any event. Bar is almost always a central focal part for any event. There's no two ways about it. Even if it's a breakfast bar where you've got juices and fresh squeezed smoothies and everything, the bar is still a central hub for events. And prompting in MidJourney for bars has probably been the most challenging for me. And here's why. When I put in statement bar, yeah, this is a statement bar. Going back to our earlier lessons, we add on a little bit of time. Statement bar at an event. Yeah, okay. A wedding reception cocktail bar. Yeah, all right. Outdoor bar at a wedding reception on a lawn. Okay, yeah, we're getting somewhere here. But what are you noticing in these prompts? We're seeing a lot of glassware. We've got stools, we've got glassware. This was the only one where we saw the full bar. So there's a lot we can take away from this just in this brief test that we did. We need to be specific about what we want with MidJourney and with any AI, but there are things that we can do to make it closer to what we want preemptively. So we can rerun some of these and you'll see, okay, outdoor bar at a wedding reception on the lawn. We're getting a lot of wood bars. That makes sense. We're getting so perfect. All right. Now, what if we took this a step further and, oh my goodness, a wedding reception cocktail bar? Look at this. This is, I guess this is a bar, but what if let's reuse this in our prompt, and we're going to do a function that we haven't learned yet. -- no. That's right. -- no. This works in the website as well as Discord. And we're going to just put no glassware and see what happens. Now, this is not the best way to go about doing this, but you'll notice MidJourney loves barware, glassware, bottles, booze. Same prompt. It's rendering wedding reception cocktail bar. We ran it again, but we said no glassware. Now, obviously, we got glassware, but look how much that changed the shot. Isn't that incredible? Look at how much that changed the shot and we can run it again, and I bet the results won't be that crazy off. Same prompt. All we did was say no glassware. I think that's pretty awesome. Now, if we do go, let's go beyond this, and we'll just say ballroom foyer, so we can get some context and scale. Now, this one did get some glassware in there, bottles in there, because obviously it is a bar, but we don't have as many cups and glasses. We still have kind of the bar zoomed in, or zoomed out a little bit. Now look how interesting this is when we add something like the setting, like a ballroom foyer. Now these are making split images, which is interesting. I don't normally have that happen, so let's run that again. So here's a great example. We have wedding reception cocktail bar, wide counter bar, there are no glassware. Look at this. This came out really great. And that same prompt, when we have listed, or we took out the no glassware, essentially, we just let it run however it wanted. It did make a bunch of glassware pop up. Now that these are without glassware, but it's interesting how no glassware has made such an impact with just the word no glassware in here. So this is an interesting situation that's popped up here. This one rendered stools, which is honestly pretty popular for MidJourney when you're referring to bars. Sometimes it'll add stools in or other things that you're like, I don't know if I really want that. So here's what we have the option to do. We could, in theory, go use and then put no stools, and maybe it would make sure there's no stools. But let's say you really like this picture and you were like, oh, this is so great. Now we're on the website. We can click on the picture to enlarge it, and then we can go to editor. And what we can do is we can essentially, we're going to erase that whole area, and you want to be mindful of any shadows and put a little bit of buffer in here. But then in the prompt, we can edit no stools. And then in theory, when we hit submit, it should edit those stools out. It might take a run or two. While that's running, we can see a few variations that I ran over a few minutes here, where we have a cocktail bar, wide counter bar on a lawn, simple bar back, and these don't have no glassware. Notice there's no the tag no glassware isn't included on them, and I switched it to party cocktail bar because I wanted to just show that a lot of the times it's rendering lots and lots of glassware out here. So we can reuse this, and we'll put no glassware, and we'll let that run. But I just want to show you some of these bars that MidJourney is making, especially when you go more broad, like party cocktail bar. You can see we're getting a lot further away than some of the ones that we got for weddings that had a lot of flowers. If we say party cocktail bar, that definitely changes the look of what we're going for. If you have a specific vision in mind, this is great. But I mean, like, how cool is a big mirror bar like that? Like, that's really cool. But you also might be like, oh, well, I really like this, but maybe I don't want these extra vases here. Well, no problem. We can go to the editor and we can just boop. And sometimes you don't, for something like that, you might not even have to say anything. You just hit submit. And this is a way between using the no function and the editor function. You can fix nearly any picture you create in here. Now this came out really cool. Didn't quite get no glassware, but it's trying. Let's see. And oh, here's our one without the stools. Nice. So we had put no stools in. Look at this. You'd never know they're stools. And you get a few options to choose from, whichever one you think looks the best. And voila. Like if you just wanted a simple bar, you don't want the stools, you use the dash no function. You take it out. You don't always have to use the no function. It just helps sometimes. So this is where we just use the editor. We didn't change anything. This one looks great. It just added more bottles in. That one's okay. Yeah, I think the first one came out perfect. Just took out those extra vases and you've got another bar. So using dash no is one option, and or using the editing function to remove stuff that you don't want is always another option. You can also go so far as to, let's just say no glassware. You can add multiple things like no stools. Not that that's a big issue, but oh, we could add no wood. See what happens. I don't love using no and then something like wood for textures. I'd rather you just prompt for the texture you do want than what you don't want. But sometimes if you don't know what you don't want. So now we said no wood, and we got a lot of metal, a lot of stainless steel, a lot of fingerprints, probably. But I mean, technically, we didn't get any wood either. So now we have learned how to prompt for things we do not want. We could also apply that to colors, textures, things like that. Keeping in mind that it's always important to focus on the things you do want in the prompt and not rely so heavily on the dash no function. But there's always the editor in case things go askew and it's 90% of what you want and you just need a few extra details refreshed. The editor feature is a great way to go about doing that. I hope you learned a little bit in this episode. This is, again, just one of a multi-part series. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any future lessons.